This is easily one of the most disturbing and gut-wrenching stories that people will ever hear, and it happened to me not too long ago. I haven't been the same since that day. It all happened in the summer of this year. I live in Sochi, Russia, and I had been dating my girlfriend for about 2 years at that point, since it was summer. The two of us had been visiting the beach a lot. It was our favorite thing to do whenever we felt like getting out of the house. I would usually pick my girlfriend up, and then we would drive over to the beach and spend the whole day there. It was about 30 minutes away from where my girlfriend lived. When we got there, we would park in a nearby lot and then walk over to the beach and find a spot to set up our stuff. The beach was always crazy busy, and there were usually a ton of people. It made sense, of course, as it was summer. We didn't love all the crowds, but we just made the best of it. The two of us would swim, take walks, or just lie out on the sand and tan. It was a little annoying that it wasn't as private as we would have liked though. Still, we kept going back. One afternoon, we were hanging out together at my girlfriend's place when we decided that we wanted to head over to the beach again. The only problem was that when I checked the forecast, I saw that the weather was going to be bad. There was supposed to be a huge storm later that day with lots of rain. My girlfriend still wanted to go despite the weather. I told her that she was crazy to want to go to the beach during a storm, but she kept begging me to go. She said that the beach would be way more empty and less packed this time around since it was going to rain. I was still hesitant, but I finally gave in and went along with it. I thought that it could be fun to be at the beach when it wasn't so crowded. So we got in the car and drove over. It wasn't raining yet as we drove, but it was already cloudy and gloomy outside. I could tell that it was going to be a shitty day, but I knew that it just made it even more likely that no one would be out. We finally arrived at the beach and parked the car. As we walked up, we found that the beach was pretty empty as we had expected. There were maybe a dozen people scattered around, but it was nothing to what it usually was. We both got pretty excited. We decided that we would try to swim before the storm, so we started getting ready, but the weather began acting up almost immediately. It started getting windy as hell, and a little rainy too. The waves looked a little wild as well. We didn't care too much though. We figured we could just walk along the water if it was too crazy to swim. I got down to my swim trunks just in case I swam later on, but my girlfriend just left her dress on. Then we headed down and started walking close to the shore. The water was even more wild the closer we got to it. It was splashing all over the place, and the waves were getting pretty big, but we didn't mind getting splashed a little. We were just happy to be out together without the crowds. We walked along the shore and talked about random topics. Then after a while, we were contemplating swimming again, but we second-guessed it as the waves and current were only getting worse. It was definitely starting to storm by that point. As we continued to walk and talk, we began getting splashed a lot by the waves. We just laughed it off though. It was already raining anyway, and we didn't mind getting wet. We just continued to walk as the storm got even worse. But what happened next is the most disturbing thing ever. The waves were getting bigger and bigger when, out of nowhere, a huge wave came crashing down on top of us, knocking us both to the ground.
What the hell was that? Babe, are you okay? Where are you?
That's when I saw her. She was being pulled out into the water.
I'm coming!
I stumbled to my feet and tried to run over to her, but another huge wave came and splashed me down again. I felt like I was going to drown. The waves were so strong, and they kept pushing me down over and over again. I finally managed to get up. I desperately looked around for my girlfriend, but I couldn't find her. I started panicking like crazy.
Where are you? Hello? Babe? Where are you?
She was nowhere to be found. All I could see was the water crashing around me. I started screaming frantically for help, hoping someone else would be able to find her.
Somebody help me! Help!
I finally managed to get out of the water and call the police, but it was too late. They couldn't find her. She was lost. Not long after that day, some footage of what happened got released. It was allegedly captured by a nearby beachgoer that had witnessed the whole thing. I was completely traumatized. The footage just allowed me to relive the horrible ordeal over and over again. I can't help but think that I could have prevented the whole thing if I hadn't let us go to the beach that day. She would still be here with me. This story was inspired by a disturbing incident regarding a shocking video of a woman being swept away in the ocean. The incident occurred on a Wednesday in Sochi, Russia, while the woman, aged 20, was walking on the beach with her boyfriend. The couple can be seen strolling down the beach holding hands when they approach the shore. It seems it was a particularly stormy day, as a series of violent waves began crashing down along the beach. The couple attempted to move away, and while the man is able to escape, the woman is swept away. Although she resurfaces again, another wave crashes down and the woman disappears. Realizing what was happening, the man can be seen frantically running along the beach, searching for his girlfriend and attempting to rescue her. Totally helpless, the man struggles to find her as he paces along the shore. According to reports, a search has now begun for the woman, but so far has been unsuccessful. Rescuers have expanded their search, but unfortunately, she has not been found. They were last seen together in the video. People have been left horrified by the video on social media since. It all started during the summer, when my friend Cameron and I both graduated high school. We wanted to do something big for our graduation, so we decided to go on a trip to the Bahamas with a bunch of other friends to celebrate the milestone on a cruise ship. I was excited to go with everyone, but I was a little weary of one of the guys going. His name was Steven. I didn't know the guy super well. He was a lot closer with Cameron, but he seemed like a big, annoying piece of trash. He was very rough around the edges and was always looking for a reason to get into a fight, but Cameron always liked him for some reason. I wasn't too happy about him coming on the cruise, but Cameron insisted. It was going to be a big boat anyways, so I hoped that I wouldn't have to interact with Steven too much. So when the time came, I packed up my bags and flew down to the Bahamas with the rest of the guys. From there, we got driven from the airport to the dock where we would board our cruise ship. I was really excited to get started with the trip and had decided to not let Steven ruin my time. He hadn't been too bad on the flight over, so I was hopeful that everything would be okay. We boarded the boat pretty early, but it wasn't set to leave the dock until that night. Throughout the day and the evening, we all ate and drank very heavily. The cruise was all inclusive, so we all got unlimited drinks and basically started drinking as soon as we got on the boat. It didn't take long for me, Cameron, and the rest of the guys to get absolutely shit-faced. We all began partying like crazy. Everything was going perfectly until nighttime. That's when the piece of shit Steven decided to start making trouble. He began picking fights with everyone because his dumb ass couldn't handle his alcohol. At first, people just ignored him and tried to continue to party, but he quickly went from mildly annoying to a total asshole. He came up to me and started cussing at me and pushing me to do a dare. I refused as I knew he would just try to make me do something stupid as hell. I tried to avoid him, but he kept following me around and pushing me to give in. I continued to refuse and got pretty upset, but I didn't want to start an actual fight, as I knew that Steven would beat me up due to how big he was. I didn't know what I had done to make Steven so eager to pick on me, but he wouldn't let up.
Come on, sissy. What are you so scared of?
Finally, Cameron decided to intervene.
Alright, that's enough, man. Back the hell off. Oh yeah? You're fighting his battles for him now? Or maybe you want to do the dare. Is that it? Alright, I will.
I tried to tell Cameron not to do it, but he pushed me away. Steven seemed surprised that Cameron had actually agreed. Then, he started smiling like a psycho and dared Cameron to jump off the boat. Everyone egged Cameron on, of course, as they were all drunk out of their minds. Cameron seemed ready to do it, but I had a bad feeling about it. It was dark as hell out there, and you couldn't see shit in the sea. I tried to convince Cameron not to go through with it, but then Steven grabbed me by the collar and threatened to beat the shit out of me if I kept getting in the middle of them. I was about to say something back to him, but Cameron pulled Steven off of me and said that he would jump off the boat. I could tell he was still drunk as hell, but he seemed determined. He stripped down in his drunken stupor and then actually jumped off the boat. Everyone ran to the edge of the boat and took their phones out to take pictures or videos. Some shined their lights down on the water to try and see where he was, but it was impossible to see Cameron in the darkness. I was scared shitless.
Cam? Cameron, can you hear me?
It was so dark, and the waves were crazy. I didn't see how he was going to make it back. I pulled out my phone and shined the light everywhere, desperately trying to catch sight of him. That's when I saw him. It was still hard to make him out, but he looked like he was attempting to swim back, but struggling.
Help! Help me! These waves are way too strong!
We all immediately started panicking, and everyone regretted urging him to do something so stupid. We alerted the captain to shine the spotlight down on the water so that we could see Cameron better. The captain immediately found him in the water and threw a buoy down. Cameron started to panic even more as the current seemed to be getting worse and worse.
Help! It's pulling me away! Cameron, hold on!
Then my heart dropped as I caught sight of the one thing that everyone had to have been fearing. I saw the top part of a shark swimming towards Cameron. It looked like a fin or something around that cutting through the water.
Cameron, look out!
Then the shark appeared fully and lunged at him.
No, Cameron!
That's when Cameron disappeared completely out of view. We didn't know if he had been eaten or drowned. We all assumed that the shark had taken him. The video and story went viral on the internet not long after. One of the other guys there posted it. I was traumatized forever after that. I lost my friend, and it was all because of some stupid dare. This story was inspired by a disturbing incident regarding a video that may have revealed the last words said by 18-year-old Cameron Robbins as he jumped off a cruise ship, never to be seen again. Cameron graduated high school last summer and went on a cruise with his friends to celebrate the huge milestone. On the trip in the Bahamas, Cameron was filmed jumping into the ocean water at night. In a video of the incident, which has claimed to be a dare, Cameron was seen in the water after witnesses said he jumped overboard at around 9:40 p.m. He was last seen paddling around in the water before disappearing from view, with the boat staying in place for several hours in an attempt to find the teen. Official search attempts for Cameron were called off when they were unable to locate him in the water. The video of Cameron swimming went viral following his disappearance, and some viewers believe they'd even spotted something moving in the water which could have been a shark. The footage also contained the last words that Cameron may have shouted before going missing that night. Several people on the boat could be heard shouting to him that he's swimming away from the buoy, which would have helped him keep afloat in the sea. He then vanished from the view of the panicked onlookers. To this day, Cameron's body is yet to be recovered, and a shark expert believes it's unlikely it ever will be. While his family haven't been able to properly lay Cameron to rest, they held a memorial for him in the weeks that followed his disappearance.
I've been a flight attendant for several years now. My main route is between LA and Taipei, Taiwan. I occasionally get to go to other locations, but almost all my work is done between those two cities. I'm the chief stewardess and spend most of my time in business class. The passengers are usually nice and don't cause problems, but there are exceptions. The flight between LA and Taiwan is over 15 hours long, which is like spending an entire day in the air, so I do my best to accommodate the passengers to help them be more comfortable. Most requests are perfectly reasonable, but one passenger made a request that I never thought I would hear. One evening, my colleagues and I were setting up the cabin for boarding before a late-night departure out of LA. As usual, those with disabilities are allowed to board first. There was only one movement-impaired passenger in the business class section that night. He rolled down the gangway on a mobility scooter but was forced to leave it behind. The moment he stepped through the door, the entire place smelled like feces. I turned my head to see the source of the odor and saw the most disgusting excuse for a human being I've ever seen. He was over 400 pounds and could barely walk. He squeezed himself down the aisle and held onto the seats for support until he finally sat down. He snapped his fingers and ordered me to get his carry-on and stow it for him. I unfortunately had to accommodate him. As I lifted the bag into the overhead bin, I saw him eyeing me up and down. I knew none of my colleagues were safe. The entire flight crew, apart from the pilots, were female, and it was clear he hadn't had any positive relationship with a woman in many years.
I'd love to stay in the hotel with you during my layover. I've got yellow fever, and waiting to blow my savings in Thailand is gonna take too long. And that's not the only thing I'm gonna blow either. You know what a ladyboy is? Or a ping pong show? You're really missing out if you don't.
Sir, please stop it.
All my colleagues had similar interactions with him. After 2 agonizing hours, we caught a break as we dimmed the lights for the night. But about an hour into the flight, that creep got up to use the bathroom, but I did not expect him to start yelling for help.
Help! Somebody get in here and help me! Hurry!
Sir, what's the problem?
Get in here and wipe my ass!
What? Sir, that's not happening.
Yes, it is! I can't do it myself!
You got 2 hands. Now leave me the hell alone.
Hey, bitch! Do you have any idea how much I paid for my ticket? This is business class! Now, you're gonna take care of my business. Or I'm gonna spread my cheeks and wipe it all over the floor. Is that what you want? You wanna get sprayed with my pad thai shit bricks?
All right, I'll do it. Just let me go.
That's what I thought, you lazy bimbo.
I didn't want to do it, but I felt like I had to. We were over the middle of the Pacific Ocean. We had nowhere to land to kick him out, which gave him plenty of time to escalate the situation. As the chief stewardess, I couldn't force my colleagues to do it, so I prepared as best as I could. I put on 3 pairs of latex gloves, then I headed to the lavatory.
There she is. Come on over here, baby. Don't be shy.
Please, just be quiet.
Oh, yeah. That's it right there, baby. Get that sticky crumb out of there. Oh, yeah.
Oh God. There. I did it.
Not quite. You missed a spot. You gotta get deep into that crack and get all of it out.
What?
Stop wasting time or it's gonna get crusty. I'll spread my cheeks to make it easier for you since you don't know how to wipe an ass.
You should really shower more.
Stop criticizing me and get me clean for the lady boys.
Okay, I'm doing it.
Oh, yeah. Keep going. Keep going. Did you just puke on me, you stupid nasty hoe?
I'm sorry.
Come here and clean that up. Hey, get off me! Don't touch me! This is assault!
That sick, disgusting creep locked himself in the lavatory for several minutes, eventually returning to his seat. He remained under close supervision for the rest of the flight. On the other hand, I spent most of the rest of the flight crying in another lavatory, desperately trying to get clean. The first thing I did when we landed was take a long, hot shower. The creep was blacklisted from the airline. He ended up making it to Thailand, where I presumed he found another flight back home. However, months later, I learned that he died of unknown causes. I celebrated happily, but I'm no less traumatized by what he did. The story was inspired by a disturbing incident regarding an obese American tourist who made headlines when he forced an air hostess to wipe his butt. On an LA to Taipei EVA air flight, the man left several stewardesses traumatized when he demanded they help him in the lavatory by insisting they help him remove his pants and wipe his butt. After repeated attempts to inform the man that he was blacklisted from flying on the airline in the future, a lawyer informed Taiwan's EVA Air that he was dead. According to Taiwan News, the lawyer said the man died sometime in March due to an unspecified illness while on a lengthy beach holiday in Thailand. The man had been booked on another EVA Air flight from Taipei to San Francisco, and the airline spent 3 months trying to reach him to tell him it wouldn't be taking him. At a press conference, a teary-eyed EVA Air flight attendant described how she was left mentally traumatized after the man, who claimed to have had recent surgery on his hand, asked them to pull down his pants so he could use the bathroom. In an Instagram post after the disgusting episode, the flight attendant said she locked herself inside the bathroom, crying and vomiting, unable to wash away the stench of the man's crap. The accused man, who was confined to a wheelchair and was estimated to weigh 440 pounds, reportedly threatened to relieve himself on the floor unless the all-female cabin crew helped him. It was mentioned in a shocking revelation that the man allegedly moaned as he was being wiped. The airline will reportedly refund the man's family for his unused airfare.